Hey there guys, I'm Jamie and this is Ben, and welcome for the first time to Eat Love Protein. When you're new to Instant Pot, using it for the first time can feel really scary. Maybe you've read some horror stories of the first Instant Pot meals that didn't turn out right. If you want to learn how to make flavorful, mouth-watering, juicy chicken thighs in your Instant Pot, pretty much without doing anything, without doing any work, then keep on watching for today's easy, healthy recipe. Because whether it's your first time using the Instant Pot or you're an Instant Pot pro, I promise you're gonna love it. But by the way, before we get started, if you want to keep learning how to lose weight and build muscle while loving your food, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my next videos. So, even though I love great food, up until 2 years ago, I pretty much never cooked at home. My schedule is pretty tight because I am a small business owner. So usually I'm working all day and I find myself starving around 6 or 7 p.m. with no groceries and no plan. Actually, in 2019, I was pretty much living off of restaurant food and frozen burritos for that exact reason. But maybe like you today, I really wanted to change that about myself, and I wanted to find a way that I could cook at home more in a way that would actually work for me. So, after a lot of research, I finally decided to pull the trigger on getting myself an Instant Pot for Cyber Monday for 2019. And I'm not joking when I say that it changed my life. Seriously, it transformed me from someone who only eats at restaurants to someone who submits their own recipes to the internet. Wild, right? So the recipe that I'm gonna share with you today is actually the very first recipe that I ever created myself. And it's the first meal that I cooked in my Instant Pot. It's called Greek lemon rice with chicken thighs. What I love about this meal is that it really feels like you're cheating because you pretty much don't have to do anything. Chemistry and physics does all the hard work, and all you have to do is move the ingredients around. Plus, it is an extremely flavorful meal that's packed with protein, and it can easily be portioned out into 400 to 500 calorie meals. And these meals are very filling, and they each have about 30 grams of protein. Not only is this the first recipe that I ever created myself, but it's the first recipe that I even shared on the Instant Pot subreddit. So there's actually reviews of this recipe. Here's what one Redditor had to say when they tried this recipe. They say, "Thank you so much, Jamie, for this recipe. It's honestly the first thing I've made in my Instant Pot that I would consider a success. The flavor, OMG, the flavor is amazing and the chicken is tender, not tough and chewy like every other dish I've made. So thank you." Thank you very much for sharing that review with me, and thank you so much for your encouragement, Kayeth. I'm trying my best to pronounce your Reddit username. Your guys' comments really mean so much to me, so if you decide to give any of my recipes a shot, please make sure that you write me a comment because I would love to feature your comment in a future video too. So, this Greek lemon rice and chicken thigh was easy enough for me to make with basically no knowledge about cooking, and now it's your turn. So, let's go to the kitchen. What's up guys, voiceover Jamie here. Before we get started, let's talk ingredients. So here's what you'll need. First, you'll need 1 to 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Before, I used 1.7 pounds, and that made me about 3 meals of 150 to 200 grams of chicken. You're also gonna need 1 to 2 cups of basmati rice. Before, I used 2 cups of rice, and I had pretty much a whole cup of rice left over after portioning out everything with the chicken. So you could use 1.5 cups of rice or 1 cup if you want less for leftovers. But trust me, you're probably gonna want extra rice after you taste this. You're also going to need 3 lemons, but you could use 2. You're gonna need 2 to 3 cups of chicken stock or a broth of your choosing. So you're gonna wanna keep in mind that you need a 1-to-1 ratio of rice to liquid. If you ever read anything about Instant Pot and how to make rice and they don't recommend that, it is wrong, okay? It's wrong. 1-to-1 ratio of rice to liquid and you will be Gucci. Then you're also, at this point, gonna wanna think about maybe adding a little bit extra liquid to account for the additional extra ingredients. Not super important in this recipe, but that's just a little tip that I want to share because it can help you out in recipes that you cook in the future. You're going to need 1 to 2 tablespoons of fat, which is used to brown the chicken, and personally I used olive oil today, but you can use whatever you want. Then you're going to want some seasonings to taste. So it's salt, pepper, and garlic powder. That's all to taste, and you use that on the chicken. And then you're also going to want something to marinate the chicken in. You could use a Ziploc bag. I recommend using a bag because I feel like it gets more even marinating of the chicken, but I didn't have a bag today, so I had to use this little Tupperware thing. All right, now that you've got that together, you're ready for step 1. So first, you want to open your pack of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Then you're going to want to put salt, pepper, and garlic powder on the top. Be generous here. Then you want to flip the chicken over and you want to put more salt, pepper, and garlic powder on the back. Be even more generous here. Really trying to look out for you here, okay? So take your seasoned chicken thighs and then you put them in a bag. Now squeeze the juice of 3 lemons into there. And now you're done. So that's it. Just pop that in your fridge to marinate. I have done it for as little as 30 minutes, but it's even better if you can do it for a few hours. So this is a perfect thing that you could maybe make in the morning and then cook it at night. You could do it possibly up to 24 hours, but I would keep something in mind that sometimes with chicken, an acidic marinade can actually make it tougher after a certain point of time. So I don't know that I would recommend doing it overnight. I would try to do it just for a few hours at the maximum to avoid the chicken becoming tough. In this step, we're getting help from our good friend chemistry to make tender, juicy chicken because the acid from the lemon will break down the meat to make it soft and tender. Now you're ready to go on a jog or take a nap or finish up that thing for work because that's all you gotta do here. See, I told you I made this recipe lazy. Okay, are you back? Then it's time for step 2. So, you're gonna get your bag of chicken from the fridge and you're gonna push saute on your Instant Pot. You wanna let the pot warm up for about a minute. Here's a quick cooking tip. You don't wanna put butter, fat, or any type of meat on your cooking surface until it's evenly heated. That's not something that is specific to cooking with an Instant Pot. That's just like a general cooking tip, so you can also use that anytime you're sauteing something like you regularly would on your stovetop. So once that is nice and warm, it's time to start browning your chicken. First, take your chicken thighs out of the container and make sure that you save the liquid because we're going to be using that later. Now get your cooking fat. Like I said, I used olive oil and I personally never use butter because my girlfriend can't eat dairy, but you can use whatever you want here. I'm trying to keep this meal as low calorie as possible, so I try to use as little oil as possible. I find it easier to put the oil directly onto the chicken and then kind of put that chicken, what I call oil side down, into the Instant Pot. This is gonna help you avoid a problem that many people have with the inner pot, and it kind of sucks because like if you pour oil into the pot, it will pool around the edges. It's pretty annoying for some people, but just so you know, that's not a you thing. It's unfortunately just like the shape of the Instant Pot itself that makes it do that. So you can add your oil directly to the protein and you're not gonna have this problem. Okay, now cook the chicken on the first side for 3 minutes. While it's cooking for 3 minutes on that side, you can drizzle oil to the chicken side like that's facing you. So this side that you're looking at is probably unseasoned. Put a little more salt and pepper up on there if you want to. Put oil on that. Then you're going to cook for 3 minutes on that second side. When you're done with that, you can remove the chicken from the pot. You don't even have to cut anything with this recipe, and that's probably my favorite part about it. All right, now you're ready for step 3. What makes this Greek lemon rice is that we're actually going to briefly fry the rice in the oil prior to cooking it. So that's why you want the pan to still be hot. If you have a lot of brown stuff on the bottom of the pan, you're gonna wanna add some water and scrape that up. Some Instant Pots are more sensitive than others, but sometimes leaving that browning, that Maillard reaction on the bottom can make your Instant Pot have a burn message. I personally haven't really had that with this recipe, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So grab a spoon and put, 1 or 2 spoons of water in there and scrape off anything that's kind of stuck to the bottom. Maybe add some more water if you still need to get it off, but don't worry for this part, unless it gets too burnt that you think it would for some reason affect the flavor of the dish, then you can leave it in there because it's gonna be really yummy later. That's what gives food a lot of its good flavor, is that nice browning. So you don't want to use too much water here because you do want it to evaporate. I think I actually use too much water so you can see what it's like when you make a mistake. But even if you make that mistake, it's okay. It worked out fine for me. So once your pan is mostly dry, or if you're like me and you're just tired of waiting, then you can add the oil to fry your rice. I wanted to share one of my little tricks that I like to do is that I will apply the oil directly to the rice. So I drizzle a little bit of oil in there and then I keep stirring it around until I feel like all the rice is coated or shiny. There's already oil and now chicken juice in the Instant Pot pan, so you should be good to go doing it this way. Now you can add your rice to the pot and saute it until it starts to look kind of see-through. This happens pretty fast and it can happen in about 2 minutes. So that is all of step 3. Here's step 4. Once the rice turns clear, that means it's done frying. So get ready to add your 1 cup of stock or liquid or whatever you're using to the pot because you don't want the rice to cook too much. Then when you do that, you can also press cancel to stop the heating. You'll then pour the lemon juice and the chicken marinade into the pot, and then you're gonna place your chicken thighs right on top of that rice. So something that I've personally learned is that a lot of Instant Pot cooking is really similar to building a campfire. Layering and adding things in the right order, whether or not to stir the dish, is very important in whether or not your Instant Pot dish is going to be successful. Also, making sure that you have the right amount of liquid is another key to Instant Pot cooking. While we're doing this recipe, I'm also just trying to give you some quick tips about Instant Pot cooking in general. A good way to get the right amount of liquid, whether you're using water or stock or whatever you're using, is to start by adding whatever the recipe says. In this case, it's 1 cup first, then add the rest of your ingredients, and then at the end of adding all the ingredients, right before you would kind of seal it up and press go, you want to reevaluate and consider if you need to top up on some liquid at the end. It will kind of depend on what looks right for the volume of food. So this will depend on what exactly it is that you're cooking, but a good rule of thumb is that you might want it to be touching the top layer. So you could think about it, it could be just briefly touching the top layer, or it could be about halfway up the top layer or covering the ingredients. That sounds a little strange, but I think that it will make more sense when you see how I do it. Here, you want the liquid to be maybe about halfway up the chicken. So a recipe where you'd want the ingredients covered might be if you're making like a stock or a soup, just to give you an idea for future recipes and help you in your future Instant Pot cooking. So keep in mind that this recipe overall and all of my advice is for a 6-quart size Instant Pot. That is the size Instant Pot that I have. So if you have a 3-quart Instant Pot or a 12-quart Instant Pot, I would definitely scale this up or down depending on your model's minimum required liquid. So again, the 6-quart Instant Pot needs a minimum of 1 cup of liquid to come to pressure. So if you have a different type of pressure cooker or a different size than I do, you can try to multiply or divide from your manufacturer's recommended, minimum liquid to make some guidelines for your specific pressure cooker. Anyway, now that the chicken is in there, you just close up the top, press manual high pressure if you have a choice. Mine already is set for high pressure. And if you don't have a choice, then you can just get it started. Set your pressure cook for 4 minutes. And that is it. You are done, my friend. So when your Instant Pot beeps, you can decide to do a 10-minute natural release, or you can do a quick release if you want to plate it immediately. So a quick release is when you vent the Instant Pot right away when it's done and you get a huge like type of effect. Or you could do a natural release, which just means waiting for 10 minutes in this case, and then you release the Ben. So just wanted to give you another quick tip here. That is something you're always going to want to pay attention to in your Instant Pot cooking. Because for some recipes, doing a quick release could mean that the meat will become tight, or maybe the recipe tends to spray out the valve. Other times, doing a natural release can make the recipe overcook. So I wanted to give you a heads up about that, because when Instant Pot recipes specify whether to wait or do the release right away, I would definitely pay attention to that and follow their advice. And that's it. Now you're ready to plate. So thank you so much for watching this far. Me and Ben really appreciate it, and I had such a fun time sharing my first recipe with you. So if you decide to give it a try, I really hope that you like it. I didn't get a chance to talk about it in this video, but 2 years ago, cooking more of my own food was a big part of my journey, losing over 30 pounds in 1 year. All the whole time while I was drinking, eating out every single week, eating whatever I want, just like this recipe. So leave a like and a comment if you're interested in hearing more about that part of my journey, that weight loss part of it. And if you want to see that, I will make a new video about it. My overall food philosophy is that you should love what you eat. You truly can lose weight, build muscle, and live what people consider a healthy lifestyle without cutting out carbs, fat, or protein. These are major macronutrient groups, and you don't have to cut out foods that you love. You don't have to stop having fun or stop partying or stop going to restaurants or not go on vacation or whatever it is that you want to do. You can do all of that stuff, eat food that you love, and still meet your fitness goals. You just have to be smart about it. So if you want to come on this journey with me and lose weight, build muscle, and love your food all at the same time, then make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell to get more easy, healthy recipes just like this one. Also, a huge thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon, because without you guys, this show wouldn't be possible. In addition to Ben, I have 5 other little mouths to feed because I have 5 chickens as well. So it's definitely a busy house here, and I really appreciate your support. So if you want to support the show, make sure that you go to eatloveprotein.com/support to become a patron of the show. And if you want to get a weekly email with recipes just like this, then make sure that you go to eatloveprotein.com where you can sign up for that. So thank you so much for watching today's recipe, and me and Ben will see you on next Monday. Goodbye for now.